B1 means that we are Black first. We put our community first. We put our people at the top of the priority list. And so everybody, as you come in, put your B1 in the chat. B and the number one, hashtag B1 is our calling card to remind the world how much we love ourselves and how much we love our people. So I see Edward and Elle are here early. And more of you are going to come in as time goes on. I know that because I know how the algorithms work. And so today I wanted to ask you all a yes or no question. Start here with this. How many of you have ever heard of the family of Victory Boyd? Her father's name is John. Victory Boyd sang at our wedding, and she sings like an angel, and she's amazing. And what's really amazing about Victory and her family is that they have a whole lot of talented people in their family, and they have a super smart father who's, in the tradition of just the great Black men that have raised, when you talk about Venus and Serena's daddy, or you talk about, I know some people have mixed views on Joe Jackson or whatever, but he did raise a family that was extremely talented. Or you talk about some of these other fathers out here, Tiger Woods' father, who led him to become the greatest golfer in the history of the earth. And so John Boyd is the leader of that family, and I'm really proud of him and honored to have him. And so, without further ado, I'd like to ask my friend, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm honored to be with you today. I'm a big fan of yours, Dr. Boyce, and as you know, I intentionally brought my daughter Victory to really be a part of your annual convention. I think we did that for like a couple of years in a row, and we're big fans of your philosophy and the heart of your heart concerning educating our young people, and not just our young people, but our community in general. So I'm honored to be here today.
Oh, well, the honor is all mine. The honor is all mine, and everybody in the chat, just give a digital greeting to my brother. And let me tell you, this is an extraordinary family. I'll tell you a little bit more about the backstory in a minute, but I will say this, everybody. You guys saw when I married Dr. Alicia, the love of my life, and we were sitting around. We were trying to figure out, what sort of entertainment we'd have at the wedding and who would do what. And when it got around to, who we would get to sing at the wedding, I don't know if I told you this, John, but like that was the one thing where there was no disagreement. There was no discussion. It was like, oh yeah, Victory and her family. That's who's gonna sing. Like it wasn't a debate. and I'm gonna tell you the talent's amazing, man. And so let's start just from the beginning. And I'd like to also talk about your books. I know you've written a book called The 21 Love Languages of God, and your family's doing a tour of Africa. And you guys have really, really taken off. I mean, the last 2, 3, 4 years, it looks like all that hard work's paying off. Can you kind of talk about that in terms of your family, what you do, and how things are going for you?
Well, sure. I just want to start, with the family. I'm from a large family. I'm from a family of 11, and I'm the middle child. So big families is a part of our history and our heritage. I grew up also in a musical family, and all of my sisters and brothers were singers, and we sang in choirs. And we started in Detroit. I was born in Detroit, and so we were on the scene during this whole Motown explosion, and that really influenced my musical development. And when I started having my own children, of course, with their mother, and having that musical background, I started the Boys and Girls Choirs of Detroit in 1997. And since I had my own choir at home, I would practice and develop music at home first, and then take it to the choir. And then that's how my children were developed, as they were section leaders in these choirs. And then later on, after about 10 years or so in Michigan, I moved my family from Michigan to New York, where they can have more opportunities. And that's when they started to excel. And Victory was probably the one that excelled the most. And after working in New York, both on professional stages, but also we got creative and did some guerrilla funding in Central Park for a few years. So we became known as the family that sang in Central Park at the Bethesda Fountain and Terrace, where they have an excellent acoustics, and thousands and thousands, literally hundreds of thousands of fans all over the world. We gathered. Eventually, we got the attention through a documentary of Jay-Z, who personally signed 5 of my children, First Victory and then 4 others, and entered into a joint venture with our family music label, which is called Peace Industry Music Group. And then eventually that led to all kinds of opportunities and led us into the presence of Kanye, where Victory basically played a big role in this Jesus is King album, which won many Grammys last year. She wrote a lot of that and was the driving force behind some of the biggest songs on the album, like Closed on Sunday, God Is, and The Water, which are the 3 main songs on the album. And she's been really, very progressive ever since. So musically, our family has really connected with a lot. Infinity Song is the 5-member group of the family. So Victory had her solo career, and then later the band Infinity Song, which is 5 of my children, a sibling band, and they have been emerging. And recently, the last year or so, have viral video after viral video. And there's so many things that they're involved in at this time. But it's been an interesting journey developing the family. I do identify a lot with these great fathers and mothers, but particularly since I'm a man, these fathers that really got involved in the development of their children. And I can appreciate that there's a certain formula. You have to have the standards, you have to have the expectation, you have to have the drive, and you have to be a good leader in the family to carve out a path and a vision that, it's a 10, 20-year plan. It's not something that happens overnight. So I've been intricately involved in my children's developments since day one. And I was the one that took the leadership. I didn't relegate that or hand that over to school districts or to churches or to babysitters. You have to get involved. You have to have a plan. You have to have a vision, and you have to take charge of that vision and make sure that there's continuity from day one, and not hand that all over to other people, because they mean well and they do well and they can make contributions, but ultimately nobody's going to really do the things that need to be done for your children but you. And it's a difficult process for some people, but it pays off in the long run. So I'm definitely excited about that.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I think this is the kind of thing that is. I want everybody to kind of realize this is the blueprint. This is a blueprint of greatness, and everybody, if you don't know who I'm speaking with Mr. John Boyd and his family. They started off, as you heard, they started singing. They did guerrilla funding in Central Park, invested in their dream. And now they're all over the world. They're doing a tour of Africa soon. They've been discovered by people at the highest levels of the music industry, Jay-Z, Kanye West, people, everybody like that. And actually, I found some pictures, man. I wanted to share this on the screen and ask you just to be sure. Now, I think these are the kids, but I just want to confirm this because you're the daddy, so you know better than I do. This picture here, are those your children?
Yes.
Look at that. Look at that. This is a nice picture right here. I like this. I love this.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to see sort of where they are now, here's a more updated image of the family. Just extremely beautiful black family. I mean, come on, y'all got to confirm this for me. Like this, a beautiful black family, all working together to achieve a common goal. They are. I'm sure they're fighting through struggles like everyone else, but they are overcoming, and they're overcoming it through Black love, through mutual support. Here's victory. Victory. Some would say victory. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I'm okay with using this terminology, but she's almost like the Michael Jackson of the family. Would that be a way to describe it? Yeah, but of course there's. I would say the Jackson Five, but in your case, how many of your kids are performers?
Well, all 9 of them are musical, and but 5 of them are in the commercial music space. But then I have 2 younger ones that are in development. So my youngest, both of them are guitarists and singers, and then I have my oldest son is in gospel hip hop. So
Nice.
everybody's gonna know all of them at some point. But right now, that on the commercial and professional stage, it's the 5.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. It's awesome to watch. Because I know this isn't easy. A lot of you, everybody in the chat, give me a yes or no if you know what I'm talking about. Have you ever seen a family where you got a lot of talented people, and because they can't get along, they don't ever work together on anything? Because everybody triggers each other, and the fighting begins before the building. I mean, it's hard to build and fight at the same time. Like, war is a destructive energy. And a lot of us have families that got all the talent in the world, but they say, oh, I can't work with my sister. I can't work with my brother. I stopped speaking to my cousin 8 years ago, and as an outsider, you're sitting there thinking, well, if you and your cousin could get over your BS and work together, y'all could go make millions of dollars. You could do amazing things. But a lot of families can't even get over this almost weird generational curse of us just sometimes wanting to destroy each other. Not to say that this is uniquely a Black thing. It happens in all kinds of families. But can you speak to that a little bit? And I definitely want to move on to your book after that as well. But can you speak to that? I mean, how do you? It takes. I mean, I would tell you, if y'all want to know why I respect John Boyd, it's because I believe it takes a great leader to unify various factions, and so in my mind, John Boyd is like a powerful king. The fact that you're able to get all 9 of your kids on the same page, which I can only imagine how crazy that is, not just with the chaos within the group, but even outsiders who might disrupt the chaos. What's the secret to that? What are some things that people can learn from how you were even able to pull this off?
2 things. I'm my children's principal educator. And I hear you talk about this sometimes. I can't emphasize this enough. You can't give your children's minds over to other people and expect an outcome consistent with family unity, right? If you want unity, you've got to be the principal educator. That doesn't mean that you don't have a lot of help from other people, because you can't do it all. We all have limitations. But my voice is the principal voice in my family. I am the authority. It's got to start there. And that seat has got to be protected. You've got to protect that at all costs. Obviously, that means that when you have to study, it has to be merit based. It can't be, I'm the father, that's it. No, you have to be able to carry the day in terms of the wisdom, knowledge, and the contributions you make to the ideas, or to the conversation. The other thing is understanding the value of what I call the unity opportunity. There are certain things that you realize as a people because you're united, and we don't a lot of times get an opportunity to or get access to that opportunity because we don't have unity. Unity gives you the privilege of an opportunity, and we realize that by being united. For years, we had to sing like with one voice. In order to do that guerrilla funding, we had to have this unit, and then of course that money was reinvested in their development. But you have to have creative ways of raising capital, because a lot of the capital, access to capital, a lot of times is very difficult. But understanding economics and understanding those openings and realizing and accessing those openings generally requires unity, a team effort. This is the thing that Dr. Claude Anderson talks about.
Mm.
It's a team sport, and when you have a large family, you have a large team, and that's a human resource. That's human capital. How do you harness that for a meaningful purpose? So a lot of times we have a plan that's consistent with other people's advancement. So we give our children over to, they recruit and they poach our talent within our family, and sometimes we're not really aware of what we're losing when we give our children to other people's institutions to build their institutions. And then at the end of the day, we've invested in our children only to give them to other institutions where they're building up other institutions. We should build our own institutions, our own family-based companies, and
Wow.
and that's been our underlying philosophy, that we build our own institutions, and we use our own energy to support ourselves instead of being so impressed with other people to the point where we become so deluded and we lack unity. So it's a unity opportunity, and it is also understanding that you have to have strong voices in your family and strong leaders. That's a long answer to your question, but I was trying to be
No, that is a great answer. I need everybody in the chat to put a B1 in the chat to show honor what he just said. I mean, I hope you will take a moment and I need y'all to go replay this later, because these are some of the most profound words we've ever heard on this platform. Do you understand what he said? I took notes. I'm literally, I don't know if you know this, I didn't mention to you, John, but the book I'm working on now is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power.
Mm-hmm.
And what you said about being the principal educator of your kids so they're hearing from one voice, I said, boom, that's it. Right? That's it. I mean, it was something I've always understood to a point, but when you think about this, right? So many of our young people are all over the place because they're getting these influences that are all over the place.
Right.
And then when you try to come together and do something together, you got one person who's been educated by the radio, by Cardi B, right? Another person who's been educated by what they saw on TV. Somebody else has been educated by what they learned in the public school, and next thing you know, you're in different spaces mentally because you have different agendas, different value systems. So it almost sounds to me like in addition to educating your children about the world, you inherently are giving them their values to say things like, look, your family is important. Working together is important. That's your sister. You always show loyalty to your sister. And these are things I do with my kids as well. And I just, but you are, you're an elder to me, right? So I am hearing this, and I just think that everybody listening needs to understand that this, what he's talking about, is developing that power base, right? That power base necessary for unity, because you want to know where some of the Black unity goes away. It's because you have other forces pulling you in different directions, and you can't come together with a common cause or a common ideology. So let's jump in. You dropped some jewels. Thank you. And so John Boyd, this is his brother's name. I need everybody to look it up. Look up the family. The family business. Let me put this on the screen so everybody can see it. Your company is called the Peace Industry Music Group, right?
Peace Industry Music Group.
Okay. And I want everybody to support this. Like, this is, you talk about B1 entertainment, that kind of thing. Like, this is Black first. Like, this is very powerful. So let me ask you about this. Let's talk about you and your book. You have a new book called The 21 Love Languages of God.
Yes.
I didn't know God had exactly 21 love languages. I thought it was maybe 24 or 18. I didn't know it was 21. So how did you come up with 21 love languages of God? And tell us about that book.
So the whole process began. Actually, there's a gentleman named Gary Chapman who wrote a book called 5 Love Languages. And this idea is a really great idea. I got to give him, his honor. It basically is a thesis that says that people are unique, and people have unique love languages or love preferences. So if you're in a relationship with an individual, it's important to really take a moment to find out what their languages are, as opposed to making an assumption and just, giving them things that really they don't appreciate, or that's not really consistent with their love language. And a lot of people approach relationships like that. They just approach relationships with this sense of assuming things. Gary, he's not the only one, but Gary basically said, people should really take stock of, love languages and really act accordingly. And he came up with 5, and it's pretty popular, so most people know about his thesis and this book. But I went further than that because my book is not just about human to human relationships, although there is some overlap. My book is about human to divinity and relationship, and God is a person. He has unique preferences and love languages that are spelled out in the Bible. So what I did was I went through the Bible basically and identified those love languages. At first, I was thinking I should keep it at a small number, possibly 5, 10. But really, as I began to study, I just followed it where it led, and it led to 21 distinct love languages. And a love language is a preference that an individual has, and that this preference is the means by which they want to be approached, or they want people to relate to them through these languages. For instance, some people in the human realm like chocolate. Some people like flowers. Some people like touch. Some people like words of affirmation. These are examples. And if they like those things and you understand that language, then you give them what they like, as opposed to what you like. Where God has all these preferences. For instance, the first chapter in each preference has its own chapter. The first love language is faith. Because the Bible teaches us, and this is true universally, with all religions, that without faith, it's impossible to please God. For he that cometh to God must first believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So you can't have a relationship with an invisible God without having faith. And that's the number one love language of God. And then on and on. The second one is love. The third one is spiritual mindedness. But we build a really strong case for each love language. And the book is dedicated to my mother, who was a very powerful spiritual person and really influenced my life. So I take time to really write that dedication. But it's really, I've just heard some great responses, and I put in a lot of jewels that I think the audience would really love.
Now, what is your mother's name?
Eva Mae Peterson.
Eva Mae Peterson. All right. So everybody in the chat, now she's still with us, or?
Well, she passed in 1991.
Okay.
Yeah, but she made her mark on my life, and the lives of my 10 brothers and sisters, and very powerful impact.
All right. Well, I say to Eva Mae Peterson. Everybody type Eva in the chat. Salute to Miss Eva Mae Peterson, who without her contribution and the contribution of your father, we wouldn't have this amazing family that I'm witnessing. And I'm sure she's watching. I'm sure they have good Wi-Fi in heaven. So she's watching. She's with us. So let me ask you about this. So you and your family. And by the way, everybody, I'm speaking with Mr. John Boyd. John Boyd is he's the CEO and founder, correct, of Peace Industry Music Group. Is that
right?
Okay. And also his 9 children are world famous performers now. His daughter Victory sang at our wedding, but he's got a whole slew of talented children that are, better than the Jackson 5. I mean, it's because it doesn't just give the entertainment piece. It's also B1, very black first, very black and intelligent. Look up this family online. Y'all have to do it. I kid you not. When you hear them sing together, you're going to be floored because they've all gone viral together. And then when you hear Victory, you're going to put her right up there with the greatest of all time. The Sade's, the Anita Bakers. I don't even like comparing a singer to a Sade is almost feels sacrilegious, musically.
Yeah.
You like it's like comparing a rapper to Tupac or something. Nobody can compare to Tupac, right?
Right.
But with Victory, so Alicia and I were talking about how great of a singer Victory was, and I said, yeah, I put her up there past Anita. I said, dare we compare her to Sade? Yeah, Sade, because Sade's like in everybody's top 5, and Victory's up there. I mean, it's like holy cow, So the talent's amazing, and I love it. And so let's talk about this tour your family's doing of Africa. You got a tour coming up in the fall. You're going to some different African countries. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Boyce, if you don't mind, I just want to let everybody know if they want a copy of the book, they can go to, I started a charity called the Boyd Group for Creative Solutions. And they just go to that website and they can get a copy of the book.
What's the URL? Do you have the URL?
It's called the Boyd Group for Creative Solutions.org.
Oh, for creative. I'm going to put it on the screen so everybody will have it. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Anything else you want to share, just jump right in and interrupt me. So there we go. I'll put it on the screen, please.
Yeah, the Boyd Group is a creative think tank for creative people. So, yeah, and using their collective energy to solve some world challenges, and so it's the mission statement is there, and then if you want a copy of the book, just send it.
I love it. Okay, so the tour of Africa.
The tour is something that we're working on because I firmly believe, and this is a big discussion, that the children of the diaspora, including Americans, Europeans, Caribbeans, it's very important that we turn our hearts towards the continent. There's a huge opening there, not only in terms of reconciliation, but also in terms of trade. And many African leaders are open to this conversation about our people coming in and helping, join forces to fill in some of the void that it's been created after their independence, and not repeating the same cycle of people coming in there colonizing the continent. So there's a real need for trade and for skills and for investment. And it doesn't have to be one-sided. I think there's a win-win situation that can be created. So this tour is called the African Genesis Tour, which is basically going back to the origin where the music began. It's a musical tour, even though I talk about trade and reconciliation and that kind of thing. For me, it's always not just about music. It's more comprehensive. And that's even, a part of my whole philosophy with respect to how I train to develop my children. You have to have that anchor philosophy. But we're hoping that, and planning to start the tour in late November. I'm going to be meeting with a Namibian official actually next week in New York and discussing them being the anchor. Then we'll be going into South Africa, back up to Ghana, and ending in Nigeria. And it's kicking off the end of November into December of this year. We are talking to a number of artists. Of course, Infinity Song will be a part of. That's a group that my children formed. But we're talking to a number of artists. I hesitate to announce them yet, but these are huge artists until they're confirmed. But this is probably going to be one of the most curated tours in music history because of the intentionalities behind it. It's not just musical, it's history, it's education, it's really reconnecting to the origins, because music began, that's the cradle. That's not just the cradle of civilization, it's the cradle of music, it's the cradle of art. and it's a creator of these beautiful sounds that evolved into jazz and blues and rock, and all of that started in on the continent. So we're revisiting these wells that were dug by the ancients, and read it. The Bible has a story about how Isaac discovered the wells of his father Abraham, and dug them out because they were filled in with sand by Abraham's enemies, because they hated him and they were jealous of his prosperity. So they tried to kill his legacy. So by burying the wells that he dug out, we're going to dig out some of these old wells. I mean that metaphorically, but also literally from an artistic standpoint, and fuse our sound with some of the up and coming sounds coming out of Nigeria with Afro beats and all, and come up with a really great sound. And our goal is to repackage some of the industry, thinking about the gospel industry, which has been marginalized, and because there's still a lot of racism in these industries, because music is really a good source of telling narratives and telling stories. We have to own our own narrative. We have to own our own storytelling. We have to own our own publishing, and we have to rethink the way music is presented, and ultimately the way music is monetized. As we have the tech companies that have moved in and basically, taken over the space and taken over audiences, and so artists are making very little money compared to what they used to do if they're not writing their own songs and controlling their own narratives. So it's a lot, but I definitely want to keep your audience informed as it develops, and I'll send you more material about it so that it can definitely be on your radar. And of course, I invited you and your wife to be a part of this, and your family. So,
yeah, I would love to go. Went to Ghana right before the pandemic, and I wanted to go right back. And so we had that conversation. That's something I really want to do. And by the way, everybody, I apologize. I misspelled the URL. We got intelligent Black people here, so they'll correct me in a minute. And so I fixed it. You just chalk it up to me not being on point, not being B1 enough. B1 means Black excellence also. So everybody hit the thumbs up button right now. If you haven't done it, please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. I'm speaking with Mr. John Boyd. John is the CEO and founder of the Peace Industry Music Group, and his family is just doing amazing things as it pertains to music. They are out here setting the world on fire. And so let me ask you about this then, just a music question. So what's the journey been like? I know that here's what for some reason this is in my brain. I don't remember where I got it, but somewhere I heard that you all went and sang for Jay-Z, and he just was floored by it. And is that accurate, or am I just?
Yeah, it was almost like an on the spot signing.
Really?
Jay-Z doesn't really sign that many people. Most people come in through A&R and through other parts of the company. Jay-Z in his whole career is like with Rock Nation. He just doesn't really, sign directly. Ultimately it's his decision, when an artist is signed, but he signed all 5 of my children directly. He was very impressed. We have a really good relationship with Rock Nation. I remember one of our first meetings. He said that, we don't want you guys to change and try to catch up to us. We want to catch up to you guys. So even at that point, he noticed that there was something about the family in terms of it was the future of music, that we were on a path to be trendsetters and to create some new sounds. And then Kanye was quoted in Indiana as saying, Infinity Song was the future of music. So, it's very interesting what is happening, but it's been an interesting journey. And as I said, the last time I was here with you, we didn't go that quick route, that flashy route. We went the route of substance. So my children are not only singers, they're writers, they're producers, They put on their business hat, and I would be here another hour telling you their accomplishments, and they can work behind the scenes, they can work on stage, it's just a lot of skill sets. So if you gather all of those skill sets, it takes a little more time than if you're just trying to get that one single. And that we've never been driven by, let's get a single, let's get a hit. And for us, it's been all about institution building.
Well, brother, you should be a pastor. You should have a church, the Black Excellence Church of how to raise strong Black families. I mean, because that really, if you talk about just like the kind of like almost like masterclass, if you will, that would make the difference in our community. That's a big part of it, because we've got, as Black people, we have everything we need. We don't need stuff from other people,
Right.
We just have to leverage what we have, right? We've got the talent, we've got each other, we've got the community, we've got, just that secret special sauce from God that makes us just some of the most amazing people in the world. And I like the way you closed ranks and you got your children to focus on each other. And at that point, some of the things that so many other people complain about, all the white supremacy is keeping me down. I don't think anybody can really keep your family down. I think that if they would get together and kick them in the butt, so that's what that unity is. That's why if when you see a group of geese, they stay together in a flock. There's a natural reason. Nobody taught them that. They just know that there's safety and security and strength in numbers. And when you contrast that to some of what happens in a lot of our families, children growing up without both parents supporting them or siblings all over the place and everything else, you see the chaos that comes from that. It becomes a complete mess, So I hope everybody that's listening will understand this. And this is where the secrets are. This is what you need. So last question, I guess I'll ask you is, so what's next for you in the coming months, for you, your book, your 21 Love Languages of God, your family, what's on your mind right now that's kind of brewing and got you excited?
Well, I'm going to be going on tour, having these book signings, preparing to go to California, and there's some opportunities developing there. I'm working. I did a theatrical production here. I'm a resident of Cody, Wyoming, by the way. It's very, very mountainous place.
If I ask you why you're in Wyoming?
Yeah, I came to Wyoming because I was doing some consulting for Kanye for about 6 months, and then I decided to stay because I love it so much, and so peaceful, and it's just a beautiful area. And there's a lot to discover here. I think it's so important that our people understand that America is a big place. We don't have to just be locked into these cities. There are other places that we can discover, and we can have we still have apartment in New Jersey, but it's really nice to discover other places. And of course, we don't worry about like the fact that not a lot of people look like us out here. That can change. We have to have a sense that we own this country, like all parts of it. And we can go anywhere we want to go. So this is our inheritance. So the fact that some people haven't discovered does not negate the fact that we can go anywhere we want to go. We can live wherever we want to live. And that's right. I'd like to invite you and your wife out sometime to if you haven't been to Wyoming, it's a good place to visit.
All right. Well, I think I went through Wyoming on a train, but I never actually stopped. Yeah, but we would love to come out there, and actually, in fact, maybe sooner rather than later. We're about to take our honeymoon, and as part of our honeymoon, we're doing 3 legs of our honeymoon. One involves water, one involves driving, and another one involves flying somewhere. So the driving part, we're gonna literally drive across the country and go to different states. So I think I'm gonna add Wyoming to the list, brother.
Yeah, add it to the list, and we'll make sure that you have the best hospitality of all the places that you go. As the
All right.
water is here and the mountains are here. I'm going to send you some pictures, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
You
it's a
can share
done
them with
deal,
your
man.
audience as well.
I will go tell Alicia. So yeah, so you'll see us soon, man. I look forward to it. And anybody who's watching, I want you to know John Boyd and his family. I have the utmost respect for them. I hope that everyone in here was really paying attention. When we're looking for the blueprints, everybody's looking for solutions, and all the politicians are like, we can't find solutions for Black people. We don't know what's out. We can't figure it out. The solutions are right in front of you. Like this family is succeeding by sticking together. They have core
Right.
values. You have the strong parental leadership. You remember I've told everybody in here that if we educate our own children, create our own jobs, support our own businesses, then a lot of this stuff that you're stressed out about, the white supremacy and all that, a lot of that kind of goes away. It doesn't disappear completely, but it's much, much easier because you have a power base. This is a powernomics philosophy that's being executed right in front of you. Pay attention to that much more so than anything you ever learned in school. This is your school. This is your university. This is where you learn how to be a successful Black person. Nobody, the other people can't teach you that, and they're not going to because they don't want to. Right. So thank you very much, Mr. Boyd. It's always a pleasure talking to you, brother.
Thank you very much, Boyce. Keep up the good work. You are just in a class all by yourself in terms of what you and your wife are doing, and congratulations again on this wonderful, marriage and all of the teaching that you're doing in terms of really elevating the conversation. So
All right.
I appreciate your friendship.
Well, same here, my friend. And I will pass the message on to Alicia. And also, thank you all for watching. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out the door. And also the URL to take a look at what Mr. Boyd and his family are doing is right there. It's the Boyd Group for CreativeSolutions.org. He is a solutionary. He is out solving the problem. The family's doing amazing things. The group is called Infinity Song. Is that?
Yeah, Infinity Song.
Infinity Song. You look them up. When you hear Victory Boyd, if you haven't heard her sing, the family's amazing. Like I said, the family's unbelievable. But if you hear either the family or Victory, just know you're going to be on the floor. Because the first time I heard Victory sing, they came to one of the events. And she had the guitar strapped to her back. John's probably heard me tell the story 1,000 times, but it's my favorite story because it's the one that sticks out. So she was humble, quiet, sweet. I met her dad. Like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you, Black man. And we did a little VIP event. And everybody was talking and mingling. And Victory just sat on the couch and very quietly, guitar on her back, didn't say a word. And then I saw her over in the corner with the guitar. And I said, oh, you sing? And she said, yeah. I said, can you sing us a song? And she said, okay, let me tune up my guitar. I said, okay, great. And I was expecting, somebody that could sing, but not somebody who could sing, because I see a lot of entertainers and stuff. And the minute the first syllable came out of her mouth, we were like, whoa, hey, what just happened here? So I want you all to go take a look because it's unlike anything you've ever heard. So anyway, I'm going to stop just swooning over how great this family is. Y'all know how much I admire them. And God bless everybody. Thank you all for hanging out with us. And please have a wonderful day. And we'll see you all soon. Take care.
Take care now. Bye.